An ultimately mistimed project, XP64 was British Rail's vision into the future of its passenger stock and wider corporate identity. The story of XP64 starts with the 1955 modernisation plan, which was drafted with the initiative to bring Britain's railway system kicking and screaming into the modern age. Much attention was drawn to the fact of passenger comfort and the updating of rolling stock, with the withdrawal and scrapping of pre-grouping and Big Four stock, and BR's own stock taking over. Fast forward to the early 1960s, and British Rail began work with consultancy firm Wilkes and Ashmore on what would later be deemed the coach of the future, a vessel to be used as inspiration for the upcoming Mark II coaches. This mock-up coach was first shown to the public in 1963 at the Design Centre in London and was comprised of 3 full-size sections of vehicles, a first-class compartment, a second-class open saloon and an access vestibule with toilet cubicle. These were displayed at the Design Centre in London under the guise New Design for British Railways and saw 80,000 visitors over February and March 1963. Following this public display, Derby RTC were tasked by British Rail to produce a series of 8 passenger vehicles, with production taking place at their Lit Church Lane carriage works. This set of vehicles, dubbed XP64, were intended to combine physical comfort and good appearance, boasting forced air heating and ventilation, improved soundproofing, 5-foot partial double glazed windows, improved lighting, and scientifically designed seats. The stock also featured concealed fluorescent lighting through individually controlled reading lights incorporated into the overhead seating racks. However, the biggest change with XP64 was the doors, which were, and I quote British Parfait here,
wide enough for a fat man with 2 suitcases until journey's end.
These doors were wider than previous coaching stock doors and boasted a double hinge mechanism, allowing for much easier passenger access. The vehicles were outshot from Derby in a monostral and pale blue livery, contrasted by grey roofs and a dark brown underframe, and were paired with a brushed Type 4 diesel electric, number D1733, also outshopped in a matching blue livery. XP64 completed its first demonstration runs on May 28th and 29th, 1964, between Marylebone and High Wycombe, before venturing to various parts of the UK to determine the public's opinion of its design. The set was drafted into daily service from June 15th, between King's Cross and Edinburgh as the name Talisman Express, and later transferred to the West Riding Leeds service from October. XP64 then moved on to the Euston-Heysham service in January 1965, before finally serving the route between Paddington and South Wales from March 1965. The 8 coaches in the set have the capacity to provide 126 first and 288 second-class seats, with 3 open-plan second-class carriages with 64 seats each, and 3 first and 2 second-class corridor compartment coaches, seating 42 and 46 respectively. Like most compartment stock, the XP64 sat 3 people on each side of a compartment. However, unlike most compartment stock, boasted seats made of fiberglass, which was still an unusual material at the time, with first-class seating being adjustable and all seats across both classes featuring armrests. The seating plan of the second-class saloons drew attention due to the fact it featured both forward-facing seating as well as table-facing seating. These saloons also found themselves sectioned into 4 by glazed partitions in order to avoid a long tube effect. To differentiate smoking and non-smoking sections, the carriages had differing colour schemes depending on which section you were in, with the smoking section featuring yellow, grey and blue wool material, and the non-smoking a handsome blue and green. Unlike previous stock, which featured porcelain toilets and sinks surrounded by wood, XP64 featured easy clean glass fibre sealed mouldings, eliminating dirt traps often found in wooden examples. Some of the basins even featured foot-operated spray taps, which allowed a preset amount of water to be dispersed, doing away with the need for plugs, chains and overflows. In another innovative feature, the vehicles featured split blinds that came from the side rather than above, with one blind covering half the window in order to allow different lighting preferences for different passengers. To ensure passenger comfort, XP64 featured air-sprung versions of the B4 type bogies, which inflated and deflated according to the weight and load of the carriage. And whilst XP64 was certainly impressive and much more modern compared to earlier coaching stock, it all appeared to have been a pointless exercise. British Rail had already started to introduce its new Mark II coaches in 1964, and so it was unlikely many, if any, of the innovations made through XP64 would find their way into the Mark IIs. In fact, some of XP64's vehicles would find themselves later converted to Mark IIA coaches and being entered into normal running service come the end of the tour. D1733 would find itself quickly changing its looks, losing the BR double arrow stickers, however did maintain its non-standard paint job up until 1969, when it was repainted into rail blue with yellow ends. It is still around today, having survived into private ownership. Whilst not a successful vision into the future of its coaching stock, it was ultimately an interesting dive into the ideas and aspirations of British Rail at a time of corporate re-identity. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this episode of Off the Rails, why not leave a like and consider subscribing so that you don't miss future videos.